John or Joe Kelly uh, was born here, I think, or probably born. Joe Kelly, I think, was born here. My grandfather,
Okay.
and he lived in the he lived in 18th Street, I think, and grandmother Kelly lived in 19th Street, or at least a street that was running parallel, and one was in the 1800s, one was in 1900. Uncle Joe has that information much more exactly than I do. I'm sure he got it from Mary Elizabeth, who kind of got all that information, and I believe Joe dug up his own information that corroborated with the information from Joe Kelly.
Okay, so your grandfather came over with his parents and met your grandmother here.
One lives in the 1800 block, one lives in the 1900 block, and I just assume that's how they got together. And I don't think either one of them were born in Ireland. I think they were both born here.
Okay. So
Joe Kelly was about 73 or 74 years old when he died. And he died in 1936. So 36 and 1860, oh, well, wait a minute. 35 years from 1900 would be 1865, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, he was probably born here, you know.
okay. Okay, so then your grandparents. Who did your grandparents have then? Once your grandparents, Joe and Elizabeth,
Yeah.
they met up and married when? Do you know when, roughly?
No, I don't.
Okay. And what children came from that marriage?
Joseph Kelly was only one, my father.
Only child.
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't have any other aunts and uncles?
Huh?
Did you have any other aunts and uncles?
Not on that side of the family, I didn't.
What about the other side? What about on Elizabeth's side?
On the other side, there are plenty of relatives. See?
Any you care to tell us about that you were fond of?
Nothing. That's how I got so much into the food business. I went down to Hayti, Missouri, to be with Mother. My last year of school, I graduated from Hayti High School. And I wound up going down there because Mother needed a little bit of help. She was working for Uncle Ed. And Uncle Ed was what you might say a magnificent manager of hotels. He took over, and the first thing you know, everything got cleaned up, and everything was in order, and the customers were taken care of. The properties made money, and he did quite a good job, and that was Uncle Ed. And Uncle Ed had invested in a motel in south and east Missouri, right when a year before or 2 years before World War II started. And when that started, gasoline all of a sudden was curtailed, and that put the blocks for the motel business. In other words, they're getting $2 a night from people for a room, and they were nice rooms, wall-to-wall carpet, brand new bath, decent bed, and so forth, see? And a 23-room motel, and they had a terrible time. So they finally wound up selling the motel. But in the meantime, my mother, who was very good with food and was a very good cook, wound up with managing the hotel and cooking the food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I helped. I started helping there. See, whatever she wanted me to do, I did.
We'll come back and talk about things you did to help and to diffuse grandfather's temper too. Yeah, you had some stories about hiding his knife when he'd get upset, but we'll come back to that.
All right.
We got so far as your grandmother and your grandfather met. They had your father. Tell us a little bit about your dad. Where he was
Well,
born,
Dad-
when was he
Dad
born?
was an uncommonly bright child.
When was he born, Daddy? Your-
Wait a minute. He's born 1892 or 1894, something like that. He lived to be about 82 and he died in, what the heck was that year? I forget right now.
Was it around 76 or 77?
Pardon?
Maybe 1976 or 77?
Something like that, yeah.
I remember Maggie and I were in second grade.
Yeah. That was about right.
Hmm.
He wound up piling into a tree. There was a disagreement.
Stop for 1 second. We're about to get